Hello, I'm your host, Isabela Santos, and today we have Jessica Vaugn telling us a little bit about how it is to be the first. Is it the first? Well, not really the first, but a female in Bitcoin. How are you, Jessica?
Well, I'm super well. There's been lots of women in Bitcoin that went before me that paved the path, but I might be the first Playboy playmate that publicly bought Bitcoin. So,
and how does it feel to carry such a title?
Well, it seemed like a solution to huge problems once I saw the huge problems that Bitcoin solves and resolves. So I don't know. I just, it was the next natural thing for me. So it's hard to say that I thought all that much about it beyond the utility that it brings. Because I'm a philosophical Bitcoiner. So I don't own other cryptocurrencies. Every day people write me and ask me, buy this, buy that, or, we have some shit coin for you to promote. Sorry, that's what they're called. And they want to pay me to promote other coins, and I won't do it because I'm a philosophical Bitcoiner,
So you're a true Bitcoiner. And how does it feel to be a woman in a man's world? Because I feel like 95% of the Bitcoiners are male.
Yeah, and that's actually been a rather okay thing by me. There are women in Bitcoin, but more importantly, we have the shared values. So it doesn't really matter if we have gender sameness and that type of thing, because I'm comfortable with whoever shares my values. I mean, it's such a fleeting commonality these days that I'm just so grateful for Bitcoin, because it's actually really been a useful mechanism to sort through the country and make a whole new batch of, the world rather, but just because I've only been in the U.S., but it's been a way to make new friends here with, especially the last 2 weeks with the Bitcoin conference last week, and then just so much. Miami's open, and so it's been like a Bitcoin party, because with your mayor, it is like really a Bitcoin advocate and has that old finance background. So it's really cool to see what Suarez is doing as far as embracing Bitcoin. So I would say this might be the Bitcoinist city in the world. So I'm debating coming and moving here. So,
well, why don't you? And I have another question for you. How the Bitcoin community is super tight knit and very welcoming. Yeah. How have they helped you evolve in your Bitcoin journey?
Well, because they're entirely responsible for my Bitcoin journey, it's pretty easy to say. I just feel like I had a Twitter presence anyway, just being a public figure. So when I posted on Twitter that I bought Bitcoin and do I just magically get these laser eyes, or does somebody have to help me? The entire cyber hornets, they're called. All the cyber hornets came out and made me all these Photoshop pictures of my Playboy pictures with my eyes glowing and stuff like that. So, but not just that, they're really there to tell you that you did a great thing, because it benefits everybody if Bitcoiners feel loved and supported and cared about within the community, because you're going to be attacked in so many levels, and not just attacked but distracted, like I said, about the other coins and everything that can lead you away from Bitcoin, or fear governments banning it, and but if the community offers you something that stabilizes you, that will bolster you a little bit, then that seems like a great thing, a sensible way for the community to reinforce the good decision you made to buy Bitcoin. So,
why is there so much hate towards other coins, to other cryptocurrencies?
Oh, well, it's just different beliefs. It's not that there's necessarily hate. We're just teams, right? I mean, we're all kind of market competition for the others. And because Bitcoin is decentralized, that's what makes it special. So there's other coins that are popular, but they're just not decentralized. So what we're trying to do as Bitcoiners is actually have decentralized finance where nobody's in control of it. So if a cryptocurrency comes along and it's a centralized currency and other people can just make more of it, if it's an inflationary type of coin, Bitcoin is deflationary. All that can happen to it is it starts to vanish, so it gets more valuable the more people lose Bitcoin. And it's set. It has times it's set to drip out. Like there's just a limit on how much can be made. I mean, there's just a fixed number, which means the government. What happened to the U.S. dollar is they've just printed all this money, and it's causing us so many problems. I'm sure other people in other countries that are watching this have seen what's happened to other countries like Venezuela and Greece, and you just can't do this. You can't do this to the money. And in America, we thought this might never happen here, but it turns out it can definitely happen here, and it's happening. And I bought Bitcoin and joined the financial revolution because it was a productive way to channel all those concerns and put it towards something where I feel like we could change the world. And with the adoption of Bitcoin in El Salvador just days ago, I mean, it's looking like it's coming together, which is super exciting.
So you mentioned it was a revolution. And if you want to be part of the revolution, what can someone do to be and join?
Well, they can buy Bitcoin and don't buy the others. So BTC.
What sets the Bitcoin community apart from all the other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and so on?
Well, I can't speak ill of the communities because I don't know them, because I bought Bitcoin 3 months ago, and I'll never sell my Bitcoin, so I'm here for life with those same people. So what I love about the Bitcoin community, not just the other things I've said, but they're just such an entrepreneurial bunch, and they're an optimistic bunch because we've managed to pad our visions for a future where we can have sound money. So they're sound money advocates, but they're entrepreneurial in a way that, like, a part of what the problem was for me is that I don't want to fund my own prison. So what I want to do is give money to people who also care about sound money and don't want to turn our country communist and lots of things. That I just want to be a conscious consumer. So Bitcoiners have businesses, they have visions, and I would like to, with market choice, it would be nice to give my money to Bitcoiners. So we have that benefit.
So you buy Bitcoin, and then what's next? What do you do next? Should you read stuff? Should you involve yourself into the community? Should you buy stuff with it? Should you sell it, hold it, sell it? Give us the Bitcoin 101, please.
Bitcoin 101. Well, I'm just feeling my way through the dark, but I did take some guidance. I found some content creators on YouTube, like Mark Moss. That's somebody that's helped me and captured my attention right away and said, don't say the crypto word. We're Bitcoiners. Like, don't think about those other coins. Okay. This is a way to just focus on something, and it's really been good for me because out of principle I am a Bitcoiner. So but I guess I just don't, and it's not that other coins are bad or anything. It's just that my philosophical perspective is I'm looking for a solution to fix the world. But I mean, if there was years and years of people talking about Bitcoin and other cryptos, and that part's just not for me. So yeah. Oh, what was your question? It was about what to do after you buy in. Yes. So I feel like I encourage people to buy and then learn. Maybe even if you just put in like $200, just to have some skin in the game, because then all of a sudden you're paying attention because you're invested. Quite literally, you're invested. So if you get sold on Bitcoin as a philosophical solution to the fact that we don't have sound money, the geopolitics of the world is all just centered in the fact that the Fed can print money whenever they want, and that's very weird. And I have all this newfound like American guilt that like I didn't know how this went, and there's just been so much history so fast the last 15 months for me. So I would say it was a long journey to getting to becoming a Bitcoiner, but only because I spent a year learning about what was broken from the shutdowns forward. So
what would you say is broken?
Well, we don't have any sound money, and if you take the printer away from the Fed, then all of a sudden there's just, it resolves so many problems that come from that people having that power. So we need to decentralize the power. And you can start with money.
You think the government is the problem?
Oh, absolutely. And so I'm always amused by people that think they can get a solution to problems, but these people are the problem. So we need to take some power back from them. Like, It's sad because inflation means that, like, say somebody they negotiated a wage that they worked for their employer for a set amount of hours, and they received a certain amount of money that they've now saved from their own self-discipline. But now, a year later, that because of the way printing dilutes down the dollar, adding in all this new currency, what it's done is made the money that they worked for buy 30% less stuff. Like, that's not fair to that person. And other people might have a extremely like, think about older people that are on fixed incomes. Like, that's awful for them. Like, they planned on living a certain amount of time and this money that they saved to be allotted for their retirement, and to know that that's been basically stolen out of their bank accounts because they can't buy the same amount of stuff. So it's pretty scary. And I was never somebody that cared about finance in any kind of way. Like, you couldn't have found somebody that was like less interested in traditional finance. But Bitcoin was a way where it's like the representatives aren't in suits. They're not uptight. They're not talking about things that they're just these dull, concepts. Like, we're trying to change the world, and we're here for the revolution. So, bye Bitcoin.
By Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin, how can, let's say you put all your money into Bitcoin, but there's some, like a restaurant you can't pay in Bitcoin. How do you fix that problem?
What Bitcoin is a store of value, right? For now. El Salvador is going to accept it as a legal currency, which is super exciting. So I'll be interested.
So should we all move to El Salvador?
Yeah. I'll have to work on my Spanish, right? But they use the U.S. dollar, so they're going to use the U.S. dollar in tandem with Bitcoin. Okay. So what that's going to do is, they're not. We call it de-dollarizing. They're not abandoning using the US dollar instead for Bitcoin. It's just going to give people, like, imagine if you're in El Salvador and you have a savings. You have some savings. You can put your wealth into Bitcoin as a stored hold of that value, because if you keep it in US dollars in your bank account, it's declining rapidly. So, but we're the US dollar is the reserve currency of the world, and we could lose that at any point, and that could change some things. So, because the only thing really backing money is confidence. So we're adding our confidence, taking it out of the US dollar because it's so manipulated, and that's unfair to so many people, and putting it behind Bitcoin because nobody can water it down, nobody can dilute it, nobody can steal it, no government can confiscate it because they can't get it. That's what's great about it. So it solves a lot of problems that historically, gold gets confiscated, people love their precious metals, and maybe I'm young enough, I just never got to that. Like I said, I have no background in regular finance, so I just believe that people's money is their own for labor that they've rendered. Like, why would just some bureaucrats get to water down savings for people that already did the work? That's the most unfair thing I've ever heard.
So the solution to the problems is buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, if you've identified that that's not a fair thing to have happening, everybody should want sound money. And I'm not a person that wants power, so it's not, like, for me, like, the whole game of being like, oh, this political party will represent my interests, or this whatever, like this trade-off that we have in the U.S. back and forth about the parties being in control. Well, they're both doing it, and they've both done it, and there's no breaking that machine now. We have to abandon that game, basically. So I'm just pulling my wealth, and not that I had a whole heck of a lot of it, but even my future wealth shouldn't be available for the government to water down or confiscate or any of those things. So Bitcoin is for freedom. So freedom is one of my core values, and Bitcoin brings that back to me, and I'm grateful for it for that reason.
Well, thank you for your time. Is there anything you else want to let our viewers know?
Well, I'm Jessica Vaugn. You can follow me, Jessica Vaugn. I do the Twitter thing, mostly like Twitter Bitcoin, but I'm on all the other networks, Instagram and all those. So Jessica Vaugn, Vaugn. There's no H in Vaugn, but look me up. Let me know you heard this interview, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to do my best, although I'm not a Bitcoin expert. But you can find a lot of great videos on YouTube. The Bitcoin Standard is a great book about a history of money and what Bitcoin is and the solutions that it provides. So that's probably a much better resource than asking me in my inbox, my opinion. But give that book an order. I think it's I'm currently reading it, and it's really filling in some holes for me. So
thank you so much for your time and for letting us know the Bitcoin 101. There's some people that want to start, and you give us hope knowing that you started 3 months ago. Some people think it's too late to start in Bitcoin because they're like, oh, we didn't start in 2016 or we didn't start in 2008.
Yeah, you're not, and everybody feels that way about whenever they bought into Bitcoin. They feel like, oh, if I wish I could have got in 3 years ago. And everybody feels that way, but the point is to not wait. Even if you don't have to own a whole Bitcoin. Like, people get stuck in their head, like a system of numbers, but you just own a fraction of it. So you just have to get used to the idea that Satoshis are cents, basically, like cents and dollars type thing. So don't think that you need to own a whole Bitcoin, because that's, I don't know, currently like the $33,000 or something. So you don't need to. It's just a way of measuring wealth, right? But you have to get it out of your head that's a lot. You just own a fraction of it, but that doesn't have. It's the one that's going to retain the value. So you can have 10,000 Dogecoins if you want or whatever, but like that's just it just sounds better. But it's not going to retain its value in any kind of way. It's a infinitely inflatable. They can make more Doge whenever they want. I mean, that's what makes it not Bitcoin. So yeah, don't be intimidated by the language around it. It would be my best advice. Just set a dollar amount that if you are resistive or suspicious, which is well within everybody's right, just set a dollar amount that you'd be okay losing, and then that way it's not so scary. Just go in with $200 or something, and then just see what you think about it and watch it grow, because it's going to do nothing but go up.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.